I have here today a 21 Ford Transit, the big Transit, not the little Connect. I got both front floors wet, like horribly wet, and it smells terribly. What that usually means, more often than not with both front floors, it's usually one of two things. It's usually either windshield or air conditioner, because yes, a sunroof drain, both of them could get stopped up and get both front floors wet. Usually they don't stink like this. For whatever reason, I don't know why AC water stinks worse, but it just I think it because it gets in there and just stays in there and you don't realize it. This is a Transit, so it doesn't have a sunroof. It has had a windshield replaced, but I have addressed this before and looked at it, and the windshield is not leaking. So what is? Well, we're down to AC drain. Well, I'm gonna show you exactly. It's not stopped up. I got the engine running so you can see this. Let me see if I can get this phone in here. All right, there's the drain. Here's the drain, and you're gonna see it drip. And put too much light on it. There we go. We're gonna see it drip. But if you'll notice the bottom of the hole, all right, you see this big, I'm running my light around here, that big oval grommet. And the AC drain points down at an angle. You see the water coming out of it dripping, but it's not dripping straight down. What it's doing is running back up under the bottom of it. And if you'll see, I'm trying to get the phone where you can see at the bottom where the grommet stops and the white paint starts, which is the opening of the hole. You see the water sitting right there on that little lip? Well, it's going back inside. So some of it's running on the ground. Maybe I can see it without so much light. You can see it now? There you go. See the water sitting right on top of that lip? Well, that's going back in the car, in addition to going to the ground. And a lot of AC drains work that way, or AC leaks work that way, I should say. So, that's the leak. It's leaking back into the car. Let me take this back out of here now. And you would be amazed at how much water an air conditioner can put out. It's just, they'll flood it worse than actual rainwater leak. Ever thought about it? Because they leak all the time. The AC compressor runs practically all the time, no matter what you have it set on. It usually runs on about everything except for straight vent and floor. And about every other, if you have it mixed for like defrosting floor or defrosting vent, the AC compressor is running automatically whether you turn it on or not. That's with most vehicles. So what's the fix? Well, if you could get back there, which I'm finding to be a problem. All right, hang on a second, let me turn the car off. So if you can get to it, if you can get your hand to it somehow, you could do one of two things. You could dry it off below that spout. Let me zoom in on it a little bit more. All right, look at that. It's still draining water. You see how the water now, that gets a little grainy as I as I zoom in, but you see the water sitting on top of the white paint there, the painted opening. And it's basically sitting up against the grommet or the seal and the opening. Well, it's also, you can see where it's leaked down the insulation there, the sound insulation or the heat insulation, the kind of aluminum looking stuff. You can see where it's draining down onto the ground, but it's also draining back into the car. So that's your leak. How do we fix it? Well, you know, other than taking the whole dash out and putting a new grommet in or something. If you can get to it, now I'm gonna tell you, it is way back there. I know I got it zoomed in and it looks like it's right there, but it's not. I'm 6'4" with long arms, and I can barely, you know, get I'm not sure, 100% sure. I haven't actually put my hand on it yet. I haven't gotten to it. My preference would be to put an extension tube with maybe a little bit of an elbow. It doesn't have to be a 90 degree or anything, but just enough to move it away from there and have it drain down straight down. Now it would have to be something made to be under a hood, like a heater hose or something. So you could go to a parts department, figure out what size tube that is right there. You can go to a parts department and say, take me to your bypass hoses, and they usually have a big assortment of radiator bypass hoses. and they'll have one that size, and you find one with a couple of bends in it, and you cut out the section you need and stick it on there and aim it straight downward, and you'll be done. All right, that's sort of what I do anyway. I've got all this stuff here. So I've got this one, which I'm pretty sure will work, and I don't have to use this whole big thing. I can just cut out enough of it to just kind of move it away from it. This one here, this is an old AC, this is an old sunroof drain elbow. I don't really want to put a 90 degree on it if I can help it, but I'm pretty sure that'll go right on there. And this will hold up under there. It's pretty good thick rubber. And I've got this other tube, which was also a for coolant. And that's got enough of a tube. I could cut off right there, maybe, say, just enough to move it away so it doesn't run backwards to the firewall. All right, or, and again, this would require you being able to have pretty good access to it, or you could wipe it off with a rag, and you can get you some sealer and just gloop sealer up under there from the tube downward and basically make a dam where it wouldn't go in there. And that will work, and I have seen people do that. And back in the day when I had some funky shaped AC drains, I have done that, and it does work. But that usually requires you being able to have pretty good access to it, and this one here is way back there. So I am going to hopefully put one of these tubes on it, and that'll just eliminate it. And if I can get it done before dark, I'll take a picture of it. But then again, this is a 21 Transit, Ford Transit, big Transit, the big one, and AC is draining back into the vehicle, and both front floors are just, it's funny, the top, this is a work van, so it has doesn't really have carpet. It's got that, that kind of matty looking stuff, but it's still got padding underneath it. And if you pull that stuff up, the padding is just sloppy, nasty wet, and it stinks terribly. And that's why, because it's just getting wet all the time, and it's never not wet. And this is a rental vehicle, so they keep vacuuming it out and thinking they have it. And when you vacuum it out from the top, you're not getting all that stuff. So what they're going to have to do when I get done with it, this belongs to a dealership, what they're going to have to do when I get done with it is pull the seats out and pull all that matting up. Maybe pull it out, or at least pull it up and prop it up with 2x4s or something, and put a fan on it overnight, dry it out, and then maybe hit it with some Lysol, and then it'll be fine, as long as it's not getting wet anymore, which it won't. But first I have to figure out how to get my arm back there and get a extension tube on that with an elbow. All right, so that is about that. I will hopefully have a picture of it finished. But if you have any questions, comments, I appreciate you watching. Sure hope you don't have this problem, or that you have a lot longer arms than I do, because this does not look like it's fixing to be fun. See ya. Here's another one. I haven't made the video that you're going to see in this yet and put it up, and it's been about a week and a half ago when I filmed that, I believe. And here I am at another Ford dealership with another Lincoln Transit, both front floors, and both caused by the AC drain. Now that thing is in the way right there, but there is the AC. This one's got a little bit different motor, and I can actually get my hand back there to it, but I think you can clearly see. Let me try another flashlight. Well, no, this one will work. I think you can see at the bottom of that hole where it's kind of dirty, crusty looking, where this AC drain, it's angled downward. I'd say about a 40-45 degree angle, and they think it's going to drip down, but it's actually it's dripping backwards a little bit, and it's hitting the bottom of that hole where the seal is, and it's going back into the car. Both floorboards wet, and it stinks. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did earlier in this video. I assume it's going to be earlier in the video because I haven't edited it yet. But on the other truck, I put a little bit of an elbow on there to just direct the water away from that. Since I can actually get to this one, this has got a different motor, and I unfortunately didn't notice what motor the other one had, but I couldn't even think about getting to this on the other one. I mean, it was way back there. And with what was on top of the motors in the way, I just couldn't get to it, so I had to reach it back there with a long pair of needle nose and force that tube on there, and I put glue on it so it would stay in place. I'm going to seal the bottom of that underneath that AC drain spout, and I'm going to put sealer under it, essentially dam it off. I'm not going to put like a huge goop amount, but I am going to coat that thing. And what that'll do is if any water does get to it, it'll repel it. But the main fix is still going to be the elbow. So anyway, this is just another perspective. Figured I'd add it in there. All right, there's my second final product. It's not often that I do 2 different fixes and on the same type of car in one video. There you can maybe see the sealer that I put underneath that, up around on the seal that's around that exit spout. But you can see, I really wish I knew what size that drain pipe was so I could tell you. Since I'm in the leak business, I usually go into parts stores and ask them to take me to the bypass hose section, and I will know about what size hose I need, and I'll buy a couple of hoses that has 3 or 4 bends in it, and then just cut them and use them as I need it. That's probably not practical for a lot of people, but you can pretty much look back there and get an idea of what size hose that is. I just have it with me, and I happen to have it, and it doesn't say on the hose what size it is, but it's about as big as round as my finger, which doesn't tell you much of anything because I have big hands. But I'd have had to guess, I'd say 3 maybe ½ inch. Anyway, you need to verify that, but that's your fix. That'll direct the water away from the AC drain. What it was doing again was going back up against that opening and going back in the vehicle, like it happens on so many different vehicles. But there you go.